From Concord University in Athens, West Virginia, this is Mountain Lion News.
Hello and welcome to Mountain Lion News. I'm Ashley Workman. If you are looking for fun local activities to do before the stress of finals soon approaches, then downtown Princeton is the place to go. Princeton's finest Friday event is a great way to de-stress, with shopping, music, dining, community art, and more, all located in the Mercer Street grassroots and historic districts. So, if you missed the last Friday, make sure you check it out on Friday, December 6th, then unwind upstairs. There is an open stage night every Monday at 7 p.m. in the room upstairs on Mercer Street. Relax and enjoy the local creativity and cozy atmosphere the room upstairs has to offer. The cover charge is $3, but coffee and snacks are on the house. This past week, the annual talent show held at Concord University took place with 14 different acts comprised of mostly music, but also some unique acts like a top spinner. All of the acts were great and made it very tough to judge who was number one. The top 3 contestants were all brought to the stage afterwards to get recognized for their talent. Coming in third place was Caleb Zopp, in second place was Jonathan Wilhelm and Rex Burgess, and taking first place with a piano and singing act was Trevor Durago. When it comes to what's new at the cinema, we turn to MLN's in-house movie critic Cameron White. Cameron?
Thanks, Ashley. Hello, and welcome to See You at the Cinema. I'm back. I know my good friend Austin Harmon covered the reviews for me last time, but I wrote those. And now I am back. But after watching these films, I almost wish I wasn't. Let's get this over with by starting off with the frozen corpse of an attempt to recreate the magic of How to Train Your Dragon. Here is Abominable. Abominable is supposedly a DreamWorks film. Listen, this movie is not bad, but perhaps something worse. It is undoubtedly forgettable. So forgettable that I almost don't remember it, like a Lovecraftian night terror. Only I have to keep reminding myself that it did happen. Listen to all the moms, dads, grandparents, aunts, uncles, etc. Your kids deserve better. Even if you just drop them off so you can do whatever, they deserve better. So I thought to myself, this film is painful to say the least. Other critics must feel the same way. But when I went onto a certain decomposing vegetable of a website, it had good reviews from both critics and audiences. So I guess instead of a 1, here is a confused 2 out of 5 stars. I don't even have a witty little rating system to replace stars with. Since it was also Halloween, I decided to frighten myself by watching a spooky movie. Here is my review of Zombieland 2 Double Tap. I imagine the decision to do a sequel to Zombieland went something like this. Jesse Eisenberg, Woody Harrelson, and Emma Stone were all in a group call, and Jesse said, "You know what I like? Money." Woody agreed, and so did Emma Stone. And thus, a decade after the original, the sequel Zombieland was born. To quote Stephen King's Pet Sematary, "Sometimes dead is better." That would be completely true if it wasn't for the ending, which, spoilers, was better than the rest of the movie. So for that alone, perhaps it might just be the lack of good cinema really getting into my head, but I'll give Double Tap 3 out of 5 Twinkies. Well, that is it for now. Tune in next time when I review something excellent that will give the spark I need to review the movies that I love. Back to you, Ashley.
Now it's time to take a look at what's going on in Concord sports. Joining us in the studio is MLN sports correspondent Brandon Eanes.
Thanks, Ashley. And let's go ahead and take a look at how our Concord Athletics did this past week. The women's volleyball program had their 3-game win streak snapped by Davis and Elkins by getting swept in 3 straight sets. They dropped to a 9-16 record on the season and will be in action next at home against West Virginia State on Tuesday, November 5th. Men's soccer lost a tough match to Urbana this past weekend as they would go down 3-2. The men will be holding their annual senior day prior to the 2:30 kickoff against Notre Dame in Beckley. The women of Concord soccer would extend their win streak to an astonishing 10 games as they would defeat a conference foe in Urbana 4-0, with 3 goals coming in the second half. This is the first time in program history that the Lady Mountain Lions have won the Mountain East Conference Southern Division title. This was also their 11th shutout of the season, and they will have a record of 15-1 going into the Wednesday matchup in Beckley against Notre Dame. This is also a program best. The Concord football program would have to use their 2-minute drill to perfection as they would wind up getting their first win of the season this past weekend against a tough West Virginia Wesleyan team. With only a minute left on the clock, senior quarterback Kyle Aiken would find freshman wide receiver Caleb Bass in the back of the end zone to put the Mountain Lions ahead 28-24. Wesleyan, however, would drive down the field quickly to eventually have their last-ditch effort thwarted by junior linebacker Tylen Fowler, as he deflected the last-second pass in the end zone, sealing the victory for the Mountain Lions. Fowler would finish the game with a career-high 12 tackles, along with 2 Bass breakups on the offensive side. Sophomore running back Joshua Maxwell had 2 touchdowns on the day, while junior wide receiver Tywan Pierce ended the day with a team-high 7 receptions for 64 yards. Concord will have a short week as they will travel to Charleston for Thursday night football before concluding the season at home the following week against Wheeling. Let's hope they can find some positives to close out what has been a subpar season so far.
Thanks, Brandon. Coming up after the break, we have a spooky interview from the Concord Theater Department, and later we get a blast from the past with This Day in History. Stay with us.
Zombie Walk for Let's See You Quit, Tuesday, November 5th, 2019, 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. See You Wellness Fair, Wednesday, November 6th, 2019, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. in the ballroom. The Haunting of Hill House, Wednesday, November 6th, 2019, 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Bingo, Saturday, November 9th, 2019, 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. in the ballroom. Resume Writing Workshop, Tuesday, November 12th, 2019, 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. Nick Joe Ray Hall.
Concord University has another great theater production in the books, and the students involved are proud of the story they brought to life. Our very own MLN correspondent Leah Gilpin had a chance to catch up with a few students involved in The Haunting of Hill House. Leah?
Thanks, Ashley. I'm here with Brooke King and Trevor Dargo. And would you guys like to tell us where we are?
We are currently on the set of The Haunting of Hill House. We are currently sitting in the parlor of Hill House.
All right. How about you tell us a little bit about how this set came to be?
Well, I helped design the set, and it took a lot of brain power, a lot of teamwork. But now that it's together, it's one of our favorite sets. Our director, Karen Veranch, she's thrilled with how it turned out. We were talking about it this evening. I'm excited to see what our audience thinks.
Wow. Can you tell me a little bit about what this play is about?
Sure. This play is about Hill House, which is a haunted house, and a professor has invited some guests to come and explore the supernatural phenomenons that occur in it, and just to see what happens, and some very interesting things occur. I don't want to give too much away.
I've heard that this play has a lot of backstage effects. Would you like to tell me a little bit about that?
Absolutely. So usually during a show you have a backstage crew, but I've never seen a show that the backstage crew is more crucial than in The Haunting of Hill House. I think that our backstage crew has such an importance. They're just as important as the actors on stage. Without them, we wouldn't see our supernatural phenomena that Brooke talked about. They are our ghosts and haunts that we see throughout Hill House.
Fascinating. What roles do you guys do in this production?
Well, I play the role of Eleanor, or as her friends call her, Nell. I'm kind of like a small town girl. I helped my mother because she had an illness, and she passed away, and now I'm on this adventure at Hill House, and it's all very exciting.
And I am assistant director. Because we have so many new freshmen who are interested in Concord Theater, I decided to step out and play a more backstage role this year. We have so many new and exciting faces. We're super thrilled to have them, and so I've helped direct and design the set, and now I'm stage manager as we get production rolling.
What is it like working on this set?
Well, in the beginning, the set was very chaotic. There's a lot of special effects that we've talked about, and getting those started, getting the ideas for them, it can be stressful. But now that the show's coming together, we have our backstage crew, the actors on stage, the energy is flawless. It gives you chills, and it can make you cry and laugh, and The Haunting of Hill House has all these emotions. And I think that without the people on the set and without the beautiful set that we've created, you wouldn't feel those things.
Well, thank you both so much for being here and interviewing with me today. And back to you, Ashley.
If you missed the production of The Haunting of Hill House, you can still see the Concord Theater in action with a radio version of It's a Wonderful Life on November 19th and November 20th.
We begin in the year 1775. On this day, during the American Revolution, the Continental Congress passes a resolution creating the Continental Marines. The Marines served on both land and sea, fighting in the Bahamas against the British in March 1776. After 1783, however, the Marines were disbanded, but were later established on July 11, 1798, after President John Adams signed a bill establishing the U.S. Marine Corps as a permanent military force under the jurisdiction of the Department of the Navy. Today, there are more than 200,000 active, duty, and reserve Marines. In 1903, the Patent Office awards Mary Anderson, an Alabama woman from Birmingham, for developing the modern-day windshield wiper. Mary began to design the device after noticing how inefficient the front windows of cars were that were designed for bad weather. After a number of failed attempts, she finally managed to get a prototype to work, a set of wiper arms made of wood and rubber attached to a lever near the steering wheel. When the driver pulled the lever, it controlled the rubber blades to wipe away rain, snow, or other debris. Finally, in 1969, the beloved and pioneering TV show that would teach generations of young children the alphabet and how to count, that's right, Sesame Street, makes its broadcast debut on this day. The show was created for preschoolers that was to be both entertaining and educational by Joanne Gans Conley, a former documentary producer and hired puppeteer Jim Henson, who created the iconic characters Bert and Ernie, Cookie Monster, Oscar the Grouch, Grover, and Big Bird. Today, an estimated 8 million people tune in to the show each week in the U.S. alone and has aired in more than 120 countries. This day also marks the 50th anniversary of the beloved show.
And that is all the time we have for this day in history. Thank you all for listening. I'm Austin Harmon. Back to you, Ashley.
That's all we have time for on this week's MLN News. I'm Ashley Workman, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.